We are live on Facebook.
Yay.
We're live. All right. Hello, everyone. So I'm excited. Today I have Nicole and Ali, and I'm sure you've seen the subject. Ali, why are you looking at me like that? I can see you through the screen. You were kind of giving me that look like, oh my gosh. Yeah, that look.
I give that look often.
So there you go. So why women are smarter than men. Yesterday I did a broadcast. I was with Dan and I was talking about my personality of how I like to send stuff, and Ali was sending messages, and then I talked to Nicole, and which kind of spurred a conversation. And we continue to talk a little bit, but I've got to say, we talked about this, but I think psychology is very fascinating. Why people do what they do, why we think what we think. What do you got to say to that?
Yeah, same. I
Same.
never studied psychology, but I wanted to. Oh.
Yeah, got to get close to the mic
Yeah,
there.
I
There you
think
go.
it's super important, especially in marketing, to kind of understand like different groups of people. I guess more sociology than psychology, but still like different groups of people and why they make the decisions that they make and how you should market to them, because that's pretty important to understand when you have a product and you want them to buy it.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, on the end is Nicole. So if you've got questions for Nicole, ask Nicole any questions. And Nicole does a lot. I mean, really social media is a big, big part of what you do day in and day out. And then Ali here in the center. And Ali, marketing automation, inbound marketing, a lot of writing, marketing automation, meaning that someone comes to the website, she's watching the behavior, and she's firing off emails automated based on someone's behavior. But you've got to understand behavior, where psychology comes into a big place. So Nicole and Ali. So if you've got questions for them, ask your questions. So we were talking about psychology, and we were talking about people and their behaviors, and I think it's critically important because so many years where I've had bosses and they were like a top, and they would treat everybody the same, that there really wasn't any type of a thought process of how you organize a team, how you put teams together to be able to get really a great team. So I know you guys got a lot of stuff, so anytime you want to just like roll, because I know you miss preparation here. Just so you guys know, she'll probably slap the crap out of me too for touching her notes. So anyway, there's your notes, which I think is awesome. Be prepared. You should have been a Boy Scout.
I was a Girl Scout.
I was a brownie.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was a brownie and a junior Girl Scout.
Same.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, but talking about personalities, give me kind of an overview of, like, internally, we have different personalities, and I know you guys have sat around and talked about the different types of. Is personality the right word that I should be using?
The thing that we're kind of talking about, Nicole and I last month were at a conference in New York at Google, and it was all women in the advertising industry, and we went over the 4 types of communicators, or it can also be the 4 types of like leadership
Styles.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about that a lot, and I think there were a lot of us from the company there, and we were all kind of like looking over at each other at one point. Like I think we all looked at Samantha when we heard whatever type of leader she was, because it's, you can kind of, you look at these categorizations and you're like, oh, okay, that's this person, oh, that's me. So you also can kind of think about which one you fall into. Okay, I have on my notes here the 4 types of communicators. So the first one is the director. So this is when we all looked at Samantha. The director really likes to get things done, likes to make quick decisions, likes to get things done sooner rather than later, and is also kind of a risk taker, because they're like, okay, let's get this out quickly, let's see if it works, like we'll think about it later. The second type is the expressor. I want you to listen to this one carefully, okay?
All ears.
All right. So they really like to talk about their ideas and their feelings and their opinions. They like to use gestures and animated facial expressions when they talk. They sometimes have a hard time focusing on one topic at a time. They also like to tell stories. Does anything ring a bell here?
This sounds a lot like Joe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the expressor.
That is so creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's the thinker, which is me and Nicole,
Yes.
which is someone who really likes to solve problems.
Wait.
What?
Are you trying to insinuate that I'm the expressor?
No.
Okay, good.
Definitely
Phew.
Yes.
All right, good. Okay. All right. Well, all right. Sheesh.
The thinker is someone who likes to solve problems and work through all of the details before they come to a decision. They like to do things right, so this might sometimes involve working a little bit more slowly and kind of maybe postponing deadlines once in a while just to make sure things are really done correctly until the
Why are
to
you
the
looking
best
at
of
me
their
like
ability.
that?
I'm not looking at you like that. This is me.
Okay. All right.
Quality over quantity is
Yeah.
a thinker.
Well, I didn't think you were insinuating I was that type, so there we go. Okay.
And then there's the harmonizer, which is someone who listens to other people's problems, someone who's dependable, someone who people can turn to when they need advice or when there's like
Boy, I'm
troubling
seeing all
times.
these faces.
I know.
I mean, and that's another thing. When you're thinking, do you see pictures or do you think in words?
I have a photographic memory.
Okay,
Same.
so I see pictures. So,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing Dan Allen and
Yeah.
Justin in this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think Christy to an extent too.
Yeah, definitely.
Christy's,
Christy.
I think, a little bit between
Yeah.
like a harmonizer and a thinker, so
Yes,
she has
agreed.
a little bit of both.
And that's the thing, is that's what the studies show, is that people are generally like, they prioritize one of these and then they also have like a secondary, so you're kind of a mix between usually two of them, maybe three.
And your home life can be different too.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have one primary leadership style at work or at their whatever they do for a living, and then they'll come home and they'll have a different communication style. Like when I'm at work, I'm mostly a thinker, but when I go home, I'm primarily a director. So it really depends. Like, and those are almost complete opposites.
Yeah.
So it could be anything.
And I think the interesting thing to think about this is like what Paul was talking about when you're building a team, when you're working with other people. It's like the truth of this is that some of these people just don't inherently work well together. That's not to say that they can't work together. It just means there's going to be extra steps that it takes to like make sure that okay, like I'm a thinker, this person's an expressor, like we might not see eye to eye, but this is what we can do to kind of compromise and make sure that we are working together. So I think that's the important part.
So
of
if you had a
this.
team of 3 and you had 2 directors and a thinker, you'd probably be in trouble.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because the directors would be like, okay, like, where is this? Like,
Why
I
is
made
it
this
not
team
done?
5 minutes ago, where is it? And they're
Yeah.
like, what's okay?
Yeah. And I think the opposites, I mean, you can tell, like, by looking at the chart, they're kind of in quadrants. So the director's diagonal from the harmonizer, so those are kind of opposites. You probably can't see
Yeah,
this.
you can't see the chart.
But thinkers are opposites from expressors, and to balance them out, you need someone from the other 2 quadrants. So it's like you kind of need a team of one person from each category in order to make like a successful, hardworking team in your workplace. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And like Paul, what you were saying earlier, like you as someone in a leadership position, it's not sitting there thinking like, okay, I'm just going to lead everyone in this way. It's kind of analyzing your team and thinking, well, this person works this way, this person works this way. How can I lead each of them individually?
Well, I think it's important as a leader, you do need to know these things. You do need to understand these things, because I remember when I started out as a manager years ago, and I had my manager come to me, and it was like I was in the position probably about 7 or 8 months. And he said, Paul, it feels like it didn't. He said, you are finally getting it. Your team is coming together. Because I went in and I was the bull in the china shop, and I'm trying to treat everybody the same way because, would you say I'm a thinker?
Oh, you're an expressor.
And that's the thing. I mean, I would always, I would talk about different initiatives and talk about ideas, but that was the problem. I didn't have the people in the place, in the right places to take it and run with it. I would, all these ideas, it would just like, and they would just roll up, and then I would have to like try to pull myself out and make the one, make those things move forward. And that was always difficult, and it was just chaos for everybody.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that too is just like your Facebook Live yesterday with like how to deal with an overabundance of emails in the morning coming from an expressor, like as a thinker or a harmonizer. Like there are ways to deal with it from like, I don't know, reverse leadership, I guess. So like from a manager's perspective, like you can change your management style to adapt to whoever you're working with below you, but also from your coworkers and stuff like that, you guys can change the way that you deal with the expressor or the way that you deal with your director. So changing a little bit of everyone, I guess, to deal with different situations.
I also
Go ahead.
Okay. I also think it's like interesting to think about, for example, if you're the same, like Nicole and I are both thinkers, and I think, we work well together, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to work flawlessly with someone, because if you think about it, if you're a director and I'm a director, we're probably going to butt heads because we're both going to have ideas, and if those ideas don't coincide, then... So I think about it, like a couple weeks ago, there was a situation where, like, you brought these ideas to me, and you came in and you were like, okay, like, great, this is what we're going to do, like, when can we get this out? And I, at that point, was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that right now. And then I left, you left, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, okay, but, like, what if we do this instead? So it's like you started out with this great idea, but then, like, I sat down and thought about it for a minute and was like, okay, well, what if we change this? This will make it work better. And I went back to you, like, probably 20 minutes later and was like, okay, but what about this? And then that's what we ended up doing, because you were like, oh, okay, I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah.
So it takes different communicators working together to make something work cohesively also.
Yeah. I mean, and I grew up, too, the different managers that I had. You know how we would measure employees? Any idea?
No.
What time did they show up in the morning, and what time did they leave? And that's how we would do. Oh, man, so-and-so got here early, and then they worked late. And that's how we would measure performance. And even though that person wouldn't do anything all day long, it wouldn't create anything all day long. And I think there's a lot of managers that are still like that. That's what they're doing. Oh, here it is. It's 4:29 and they're leaving, or 5:29 and they're leaving.
Yeah.
And I think this is fascinating because, I mean, as you went through that, and I'm thinking about, Harmonizer, definitely Dan Allen, definitely Justin, and those Harmonizers, and definitely
Kurt.
Christy. Oh,
Kurt.
and Kurt.
I think Kurt.
And
Yeah,
those are
Kurt.
a lot of people in leadership positions, and those are people that people feel comfortable going to,
Right.
and people who can work through problems with you.
Yeah. And they all do really good at that. And then I think about the expressors in the building. Who's the expressors in the building?
Besides you,
Yeah.
maybe I think about like the designers in that case. Like, I guess just from a creative perspective, they've got to have ideas churning all day. I don't know who else.
I don't know. Maybe I don't work with Scott a lot, but maybe Scott.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think of people, some of our digital team members, like Brad. Brad
Yeah.
is an expressor.
Yeah.
He's always coming up
You're
with
right.
ideas.
Yes, he is.
Kelly is an expressor. She's always, because she can see things and, oh, what about if we do it this way? And I mean, and then Alex also did the same thing where we were talking about Facebook strategies, and he said, no, the Facebook strategy should be this way. You've got your name awareness branding, you got this, and he broke it down into a pyramid scheme, and I was like, ooh, that's really cool. Or how we use Facebook Messenger, and so you can kind of think through those ideas.
I also think of the digital performance managers as thinkers too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely Alex, I feel like, would be
Yeah.
more of a thinker than an expressor because of the strategies that he creates. I feel
And it's like they like to give it the time to, like, okay, I put this in place, and like they might do that right away when they think of it, but then it's like, okay, we really need to give this time to work itself out, and then we'll figure out what we should change. So I think they have a good combination of both.
So
of
could
those
this be
things.
kind of like, and I mean, this was an old movie. I never watched the movie. I've just read bits and pieces about it. I think it was called Moneyball or something, where the guy organized a baseball
Yeah.
team based on their,
It was Brad Pitt, right?
I have no idea.
One of them.
I thought it
Okay.
was Kevin Costner.
Oh, wasn't there a new Moneyball?
I don't
Maybe
know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I saw part of that.
Yeah. So, but I mean, kind of putting a team together based on strengths and weaknesses and all that. Is there any type of testing that an employer can do to really find out, or did they really? I don't know. Does it make sense? Is there any type of testing? Understand what the personality is, and then you start building your team based on these strengths or whatever. Because as we're talking about that, and we're talking about the different digital performance managers, yeah, I can see that they're expressors, but they're also thinkers too.
Yeah.
How they are coming across the two quadrants, and then like Christy, I can see her being definitely a harmonizer and a thinker.
Yeah.
But then I even see her go into the director part too, because then it's like she's directing me at times, It feels like I'm being directed all the time, to be honest, guys. Really.
We're all directing, Paul. That's
Yeah,
all
really,
we have.
it's what I feel. I feel like you direct me. I know Joe directs me. Christy definitely does.
Yeah.
Samantha
But yeah,
does.
Based on the situation and based on the atmosphere, like Nicole said, you might be different at home than you are at work, and I think that's interesting too. So based on the environment you're in, you kind of change and adjust to that.
And I think for employers, like you can easily find these statements, like whatever statements describe a certain like leadership style, and you can put it in a survey and see which ones people strongly agree with or strongly disagree with. So that way you can put them into these categories and create a team based on like what leadership or communication style that they have. So if that's the way that you want to put your team together, you can do a survey, like strongly agree to strongly disagree, and then you can have that in your files.
Yeah.
More or
And
less.
that's the thing is like, it's not like you're really testing them because there's not a bad answer. Like all of these categorizations have positives and negatives. So it's, you're not judging them based on what they are. It's just, okay, maybe you would be a better fit for this department, or maybe you should work with this team as opposed to this team.
Or maybe you should work with this individual and do like a reverse mentorship. Or, the list can go on and on and
Draw
on.
out each other's strengths.
Is there any traits or any differences between men and women and how they skew between director, or is it just across the board? And just kind of think about that
I
for a
think
minute.
it's across the
I
board,
think it's
honestly.
across the board too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would Joe be? Joe's in here, so we can pick on him.
Joe might be a harmonizer. Definitely harmonizer
yeah.
tendencies.
Yes.
I think he's got a little bit of harmonizer, but I think he's also a director, though, too.
Yeah.
Because he just kind of gets in and gets things done.
Yeah.
So, but he's a thinker.
Yeah.
See our beautiful
He might be
set?
somewhere around like
He thought it
here.
up.
Yeah.
Somewhere like a little bit of everything. Maybe he's just right. in
He's
the
an
middle.
expresser, too. I think he's in the middle.
Joe's just a breed of his own.
You just don't count.
He just floats
We
around.
don't need you.
Joe's multi-talented. So, you kind of think about it. I'm sure there are people who are watching right now and they're going, what am I? Am I an expresser? Am I a thinker? Am I a director? What am I? And I think it's really fascinating to think about that because I never really thought about it that way. So many times you would meet somebody and go, oh, wow, they're really well-spoken. They're like, get in, get it done.
Yeah.
And, oh, they're so creative, So we've used those terms, but we've never really had a quadrant to say, this is what it is.
Yeah.
So here's the question that I put on, are women smarter than men? What do you agree or disagree? And I'm going to tell you right now, there is no guy that's going to disagree with that statement. No one.
Especially if they're married.
That's my point exactly. Yeah. If they're married or in a relationship, they're not going to disagree with that.
Let's get Dan back in here.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's get Dan in here. Poor Dan. I bet Kurt wouldn't disagree with that. Kurt is scared of Megan.
I wouldn't say scared. I would say he's respectful of her.
You can call it whatever you want. When the guys are behind the closed doors, like, man, I'm scared of her. So there you go. All right, guys. So here it is. Of course, we're schooling you. We're giving you knowledge. You know what I'm getting ready to do?
Used car blueprint.
Yeah. So there you go. Used car blueprint. So I'm really excited because, here it was. We were going to the used car conference, AR Canada, and we have another one coming up. And I say coming up, it's in November. It's the Used Car Week, which is, I believe it's in Palm Springs.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes.
It's warmer than Canada, maybe.
It was
It'll be
pretty.
November, so.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
It'll
So
be
exactly. So what we did is we came into the studio and we started creating videos. In fact, we have created a lot of videos where we started at the very basics. And these training videos of how to get your website ready, what are the call to actions on your website, what colors to use, how to list your vehicle detail pages, how to price your vehicles, all the way to pay plans. So we covered it all, and we call it the Used Car Blueprint. So just so you're clear, you see the book on the table, and it's not a book. It's a book with a video training course. So it covers everything. So there's no guesswork. You'll know exactly what to do today, next week, next month, next year, and continuing on. So there's no spraying and praying anymore. Anything to add, Nicole? You've been working on it for a while.
It's really good content, and I would definitely, I think if I wanted to start a used car dealership, I probably could based on this. So,
It's been helping me, too. I think.
Have you been watching it?
Yeah, I did some of the
Awesome.
transcriptions, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sitting there, and I'm like, okay, like, I obviously advertise used cars for our clients in emails, and I was like, oh, this is how I could use this.
Yeah, some of the
Just giving
stuff's
us ideas too.
eye-opening and definitely solves your problems.
Yeah, because
I
I
would
mean,
say
we
if
talk
you
about
haven't-
email marketing in there, really lay it out, because we say on this week, you know, the first week's in this email, the second week's in this email, third week's in this email. And I mean, and there's a lot of dealers and a lot of used car managers, new car managers, dealer principals that they're searching. I see the searches and the trends that they're saying used car marketing ideas, used car sales ideas, that they're looking for strategies. And a lot of times they're working in the month on the month. Well, we've laid it out. Did you have to do a lot of the transcribing of it?
Yeah, I mean, Nicole and I and Aaron all split it up. Aaron, you know, I probably did fewer videos than the other two, but
So I hear that it ended up coming to be a lot of pages when you guys transcribed it.
Yeah, it was close to 100.
yep.
And
Yeah.
with the videos too. So you're probably thinking, all right, do I have to hire an additional staff? The answer is no, you don't have to hire an additional staff. You already have everything in place, and you do not have to increase your ad budget. But what it will do is it will increase your gross profit on used cars. And I keep on looking at the TV versus the camera. It throws me off. So it will increase your gross profit on used cars. It'll increase your leads, and it will increase the used cars sold. So there you go. There's my sales pitch. To see it, go to paulpotratz.com. And the package, we priced it, I think, very, very effectively, because you can watch it as many times as you want. You will have access to it, and we will continue to update it. So go to paulpotratz.com. You will see the banner. Click on it. Read about it, and contact us if you have any questions. All right, so there you go. Let's go back to our directors.
Okay.
Okay.
You mean Samantha.
This is
Samantha's of the world.
The Samanthas.
poor
Yes.
Samantha. We're picking on her a little bit.
No,
No,
it's
no. Yeah.
Well, it is, because you kind of think about it. Somebody has the ideas, somebody has to get it done. Somebody has to make sure that when it's getting done, that there's no mistakes. So you've got the expressor, cast the vision, cast the ideas. You got the director, organize, the translation basically, and then you got the thinker to make sure you don't look like an idiot,
And the harmonizer to bring everyone
and
together.
then the harmonizer to make everybody order the pizza, get the Mountain Dew, the Red Bull, and all that stuff. And
People start pulling out their hair, they can just calm you down a little bit.
yeah, and then
Calm
the
down
expressor's
sometimes.
going, "What's wrong with everybody? I don't understand." I'll email you guys tonight. I got some more ideas.
Yep.
I started doing that. In fact, here it is. We create the used car blueprint. We were in Toronto. We had dealers sign up. Michael's our, I'm having a brain fart here.
Website account manager.
Yeah, but he's working with the individuals as more or less the
liaison.
the advocate, making sure that everybody's getting in there, they're taking the classes. And this is no sooner than out that we've launched this, we're selling it, and the marketing strategies are not complete. We have a webinar coming up for it, which is April 24th, right?
Yes,
That's my
3:30
birthday.
p.m.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
There you go.
She's a Taurus.
Yes. So April 24th is a webinar that we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. And no sooner than that, what's happening with the ideas?
Round 2.
Round.
What's next?
Yeah. So, and then Nicole's like going, "Oh my God, really?" But I think it's a great idea, talking about
Yeah.
rolling that out, that there's a lot of agencies. I talk to a number of agencies every week. It's like, "Paul, how do I do this? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" So why not? We'll start creating information for agencies, because I can only talk to one person on the phone at a time. So anyway.
Yeah. You don't want to spend your whole life on the phone. It's just easier to find a need in the market.
Well, I don't know. I like to be on the phone.
Well,
Yeah.
what if you were on the phone literally 24 hours a day? You wouldn't want to do that.
You wouldn't sleep.
Oh,
be
you can
tired.
sleep when you die.
You'd be dead sooner than you expected.
All right, Christy. So there you go. So what else can we learn from this? From the director, the expressor, the thinker, and what else would you like to share with everybody?
I think self-awareness is a big thing. Like a lot of you, if you hadn't heard about this categorization process before, you're probably sitting here thinking, "Oh, like this is what I am." So I guess the next step in that would be like understanding about yourself, and then thinking, how can I use this to be a more effective leader or a more effective worker or whatever you're doing, or a more effective friend or partner or anything like that. I think you can use this to understand yourself, understand the people you surround yourself with, and then maybe, I don't want to say adjust your personality, but kind of use the positives of your personality and like drive this out.
So I kind of think of two things. So for example, I mean, you guys made it pretty clear that I was an expressor.
Yes.
But then the first thing that was going through my mind is, how do I become also more aware and become more of a, not become more of, but also add director traits and thinker traits and even harmonizer traits to my personality as I'm doing these things, to kind of slow down, because I get so excited about the ideas, and then I'm like wanting to, you know, I'm sending emails saying, Nicole, can you meet for a few minutes? You know, sending emails and pulling her off her task. But I think it's important that as an individual, I need to slow down. Not slow down, but yeah, because that just drives me nuts to slow down. But to say, okay.
I think just like Ali said, just being more aware of what you are and what you categorize as, and then also your surroundings. So once you identify yourself as an expressor, and you identify, like, if you want to take some of Samantha's traits or Christy's traits and kind of take them on as your own and try to, like, change your leadership style a little bit, I think recognizing them as what they are, like Samantha being a director, Christy being a thinker, and kind of learning from what they are and little by little adding that into, like, a meeting with someone. Kind of, if you wanted to have a director trait, then you can have tangibles at the end of a meeting, or a director's not necessarily like a slower person, I guess. They like to get things done fast, so it wouldn't help you slow down at all. But I think just kind of observing and taking that into consideration.
Well, I kind of think about that too, because I know some people in my life that get really frustrated with me at times.
Who?
Christy. And you. And Nicole, yeah, okay. Anyway, so, but I kind of think about that because I just kind of think about where's my weaknesses. And like Christy will get frustrated with me because she'll come in and she'll do all of this work. For example, like when you're working with the team, what are their key result areas? What are their key performance indicators? So she does all of that for measurement to make sure that everybody knows where they stand. So when they go home at the end of the day, they feel good about what they've accomplished. How can I improve? Those type of things. So she does a lot of that stuff, as you guys know. But then I come in as the expressor with a lot of ideas. Am I ringing the bell here? And I come in with the ideas, and it's not that I'm trying to disrupt what she's done. And I've heard what she's done, but I come in kind of like Leo, our puppy, all excited, and, you know, start wreaking havoc, and that's not my intention. It's just I get excited about an idea, something new, something exciting, to see the results from it, and then I throw that out. Here's this idea. And while I know everybody's super busy and everything, but then it just starts to wreck everything that like Christy's put in place, or even what Samantha's put in place. And so I just kind of think about, have I ever done that to you guys?
Well, I think the main thing to know about, especially about harmonizers, is every single one of these categories likes to be recognized for what they've done. So just taking, like, no matter what category you are, just taking the time to thank someone and appreciate, like, all the hard work that they've done. And especially for harmonizers, they like to be told that what they're doing is good and is having a good impact and is actually making a difference. So that's a big thing to consider also. So Christy and Dan being harmonizers, they like to be told, like, what a great job they're doing. Like, this is great.
That is so funny because Christy, we have this ongoing joke. You know, we've gone to the different leadership conferences and all that. And I remember this one we were at, and what they were doing is you had to take this little test, and they were giving you, like, gold stars. And she became a completely different woman. That she became, because she's so competitive, she became so competitive that I'm telling you, if anybody else got in the way, she was going to punch them in the forehead because they were not going to get those gold stars.
Yeah, and I think to an extent everyone has a little bit of that in them, but harmonizers especially.
And I think, again, you said, like, they like to be recognized, and they're also the ones who are maybe more eager than others to recognize others because that's what they thrive on. So I know Christy and Dan, again, are both like that, as is Justin. Our harmonizers are, you know, if they see you doing something, they're more likely to recognize you for that, which is, I think, a good thing to have in a company when you're working as a team.
That's true. So many great answers. So, guys, I really do appreciate you. I think you do an awesome job. And I don't say that enough, you know? Do I?
I think we all need to appreciate each other a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So, yeah. And I love Christy to death. I think she does a great job, and I definitely don't give her credit. And with Dan, he's the guy behind the used car blueprint. That would have never happened. And then you guys got behind it, and Joe and Mike and Kurt and Aaron and so many people. It's amazing how quick we pulled that together.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
And that, again, now going back to my thinker tendencies, that kind of stressed me out because I was sitting there and I was like, this needs to get done, but like, what if I'm making mistakes? Like, oh, I wanted to sit here and think about this and I couldn't. But then it's like, okay, so we got this out quickly and I think it looks really great. And now it's like we're all thinking of ideas of how we can make it better. I know Nicole's come up with a lot of stuff. Paul's come up with a lot of stuff. So now it's like we can take a step back and our thinkers can kind of use their forte to go through and say, okay, maybe we should do this instead.
Somebody just needs to control me because I'm on to the next one.
Yep.
But, I mean, it's really cool because Dan and Samantha are coming into the studio to pick up where I left off on it, to create even more videos on it, to get even more micro. And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. So,
Yeah.
so there you go. You have it, guys. The 4 categories are?
Directors, expressors, thinkers, and harmonizers.
And Nicole, the best way to work with those individuals are what? Because we're all those individuals. I know I threw you on the spot.
Okay. Well, it really depends, though. It really depends. So, like, if you're an expressor and you're working with a thinker, then you hire more harmonizers, and you have more harmonizers work with you. So it's kind of hiring or working with the opposite as what you are, and having at least one person in all 4.
It's about balance.
Yeah, balance. Yes, that's the word.
Balance, it is.
Yoga.
Yoga.
Let's not go about yoga.
Okay.
No hot
We're going to do
yoga.
office yoga soon. We're going to have,
That's what I hear.
yeah.
And we already have our massages or whatever. What is it?
We have a
Massage
masseuse
Mondays.
Masseuse. We have our masseuse, our massage. Yeah, whatever. So we need somebody that does manicures too. I need a manicure.
So do I.
I do. I'm licensed, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
You're
Nicole
too
can do
busy.
that.
Forget it.
I know.
Yeah, no. So, guys, if you have questions, ask the questions, and we will definitely. Well, I won't. They will. They're the smart ones because I think we proved it that women are smarter than men. If you're a man, I dare you to speak against that. And if
Joe
you
will.
do, if you speak against that, Nicole is going to United Airline. You know what?
Great.
Yeah, that's too. It was United Airline, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I keep on getting the airlines confused, which absolutely amazes me. So maybe that's what United Airline needs to do. They need to study this.
They need some more harmonizers.
More harmonizers. Exactly. Guys, have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Nicole. And
Thank
really,
you.
I do
You're
appreciate you guys. So, see you guys.